Hi everyone, this is DJ TRAX from 2020 Entertainment DJ Services out of St. John's, Newfoundland. Got this from Acclaim Music earlier this week. This is a new board. It was on special, and I did my reviews, did my research, and read reviews, and I heard some great things about the Denon product. So I picked it up. It's the Denon DN-X500. It essentially is a 8-channel mixer, or a 4-channel. As you can see, 4 channels, 1, 2, 3, 4, but it has 8 line-ins. Very good, and you want a mixer with more than just the standard 2 if you're going to be doing mobile DJing, or you're going to do a club install. Battle DJs are good for DJs who want something efficient to place between 2 turntables, 2 CDJs, what have you. But this, of course, it's a great board. I've used this for the past couple of days, just fooling around with the knobs. It has all the features that you would find on any decent board. It has 2 mic inputs, so you have one for your main mic and one for an extra mic. When you want to turn the mic on, instead of trying to reach down and thumb through a switch, you know it's this button. The button lights up very clearly, a very brilliant red. Same with mic 2. If you need to use talk over, you hit that button there, kills your music. You can also, of course, the nice thing with this talk over, you can go from bringing the level down to about half what it normally is, so you can talk over, or of course you can totally kill it. Nice thing as well is that when your talk over is invoked, it's not a quick abrupt kill. It takes about a third of a second or so before it goes from total dry effect to being totally wet, and it's a great effect, and it's got a nice bright green there. So when you have this on, and you can keep this on, and then when you're finished you can just hit your mic button again, turns both off again. Very convenient. And of course you have the board. Each of these channels has your gain, which essentially I've heard Jonathan say that it selects the loudness of each one. I like to probably refer to it as calibration. It calibrates the sound so that basically if you have 2 different types of sources, so say you have a turntable set to this channel and you have a CJ on this one, oftentimes, in many cases, the turntable might be a little bit lower and you might have to pump this up a little louder. Well, some DJs, of course, down here tend to use the crossfades as opposed to going like this. So what you want is, of course, to have these as even as possible. So you set your gains, of course, so that they'll pretty much will match up. Of course, in between each of these channels is you have an indicator, which is really convenient because you get a really good idea in a visual sense of what your music or how loud will be. However, of course, don't rely on that completely, because certain things such as the bass, if it's a song is a high bass, you might get a lot of that, but you might not get a lot of mids or highs, and you still might have to turn up your volume. So always best to know your music, as they always say. Now you have Q, you have like you said on any board, you have your trebles, your mids, your lows. Each one of these has them, and up here is your input selector. It can go from 1 to 8, since it has 8 inputs. Nice thing with this board is, in most boards that I've used, I think every other board I've used, each of these controls would be linked to 1 or 2 sets of inputs. So example, this one here would probably be linked to only channels or inputs 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8. Now that's good and dandy, but sometimes, especially when we deal with different DJs, they have different preferences, what have you. This here allows you to select any one of the 8 inputs to be assigned to this channel, be it the 2 turntable channels, I believe this channels 1 and 3, and or of course 2, 4, to 8 you can pick. So it's pretty convenient that way. And the 2 turntable channels are selectable. You can also use them as line inputs as well. This makes it really convenient. Also, like I said, you have your gains. You go down here, you have your crossfade. You all know what that does. We have your selectors. Each one of these can select to go into the A side or the B side, or you can just choose not to put this in the center, and basically this would override the crossfade. As well, you have a master indicator. This will show what's going out there. You have your master, your main out. You have a booth out, which is really convenient. On some boards they're called a non-main or a non-master, but in this case it's called a booth. Really convenient because in some environments where it's a large club and the DJ booth is enclosed, it's good to have a booth rather than listen to headphones on it. Some DJs would rather use a booth speaker so they can have real-time music, as opposed to in a larger club using headphones or having to deal with a delay over a long distance. So you also have, if you have an effects processor, you can integrate with the board on that, and you can use a wet dry effect on that one, invoke those. Headphone jack, headphone volumes you have as well. This is it sets up your cue in terms of your indicators, splits it with the master. You have a lot of other features. You also have how you want to set up the intensity of the crossfade in terms of how it will behave. A lot of other factors there as well. But anyway, this is a great board, and one thing I will advise you on is that you have to take care and make sure that you know how to set this up in terms of your buttons. There's a lot of control in this board, and you get a lot of control by all the different settings and things that you can do. With that, of course, it can easily, of course, confuse some people, but definitely it's a board worth considering buying. There's a ton of outputs on the back, which I will get around to showing you. So here we go. Okay, let's have a final look here on the back before we end this video. As you can see, I have channels. Oh, might as well, it's still kind of dark out. Lines 2 and 4. This is for my Director 2's left, Director 2's right. These two here are turntables, but you can also set them as CDs. And they've also put in these nifty covers, so if you're reaching behind, you won't actually pop them into the turntable sections. You also have, of course, links, of course, that you can hook in compatible players to those as well, so that you can start your player from the board. Kill two birds with one stone. And you have all the other ones, lines 5, 6, 7, and 8. You have a record out, which is convenient. You also have an unbalanced out. You have all these ones down here. You have essentially your connections to your effects board. Send and receive. So it can send out the signal, the effects board can process it, and you can go in from there. You also have your outputs. You also have XLRs, I believe, for your mains. That's your mains. And for your booth signal, you have 2 1/4-inch jacks. You have a subwoofer filtered output for if you're running a powered subwoofer, and of course a controller which will determine the crossover low pass filter, I believe it's called. And again, here's the button for the talkover, which calibrates your talkover to how you want to use it. Total quiet, behind your voice, or some music. So that is all for now. I hope you enjoyed this quick review on the board. Again, it's a board that any serious mobile DJ would love to have, and it's very professional looking, very smart looking, lots of lights lots of fancy things to look at. And again, it's one of those boards that you've got to use with due caution when you're setting it up, and take some time to set it up the way you want to get the full enjoyment. As always, everybody, practice and enjoy.